Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts. It's Sunday at 1. We're on to Sunday, by the way. Colts favored by 4.5 here, and now things are getting interesting in the AFC South. How hard could it be? Texans 6-5, Colts 8-3. The Colts they're a game up on the Jags. They're 2 games up on the Texans, and the Colts have to play 4 games against those teams, Texans and Jags. So the division, even though the Colts got out to a great lead and a great start, and the Texans were like 2-5 just a couple weeks ago, the division's wide open now because of all these head-to-head matchups.
Yeah, it is. And in Skip Bayless' world, we have to ask the question: is Daniel Jones now the problem in Indianapolis?
Is Indiana Jones? I need a pun off Indiana.
Well, Indiana Jones disappeared using Sam Hoppin's quarterback composite stats thing. I see that Daniel Jones now ranks 18th in PFF grade on the season. So he's now back to being a below average, average to below average.
That's average.
Starting quarterback, just like he's always been.
Where's he in EPA?
EPA per play, he is 5th.
5th. So when you
success rate 3rd.
When you read low PFF, high EPA success rate, you're thinking, okay, playmakers, scheme, there's something there elevating the quarterback. The production's higher than the level of quarterback play. And if you're a Colts fan, that's fine. I don't care where the production comes from if I'm a Colts fan or if I'm even the Colts. I don't care as long as theoretically all you want is points. But all you want is EPA. If the EPA is good, that's good for the offense, right? And that usually leads to points. That's all I really care about. But when you get to the underlying metrics, it comes down to a game like last week when you have a team that takes away Jonathan Taylor, when you have a team that is really difficult on 3rd down like the Chiefs or like the Texans, the way they rush the passer, and they've got ball hawks in the secondary. They have the 2 elite pass rushers, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. That's where it's a little concerning, where if the quarterback's not playing as well as the production and you get into a game where it's got to be more quarterback driven, do you trust Daniel Jones? And it's multiple weeks of not just the turnover worthy plays. Was there only one against Kansas City, fired it into double coverage in crunch time and it was dropped, but I still go back to the fumbles before the bye week. I go back to just a little fidgety in the pocket, right? A little happy feet in the pocket from Daniel Jones. And that's where I think I've got some concerns about where it's trending for the Colts, despite how efficient that offense has been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can be in any way, shape, or form confident about Daniel Jones against reasonable opposition. And remember, we're talking about a defense that just made Josh Allen, have a really, really, really rough game. This Texans defense is pretty terrifying in various ways.
Meanwhile, they're one of those 3 defenses that make you wake up the next day and contemplate everything about your offense. Were we never that good?
Right.
What do we do? Is Josh Allen over the hill? They make you rethink everything because that defense is so good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got Daniel Jones coming off 3 consecutive fairly rough games, which have totaled, I think, 10 turnover-worthy plays in those 3 weeks. As you said, okay, only one of them last week, but that one was, again, forced throw into double coverage in critical crunch time late in the game. That's as bad as a turnover-worthy type of play as you're going to get, but also the efficiency generally is down. Everything's down over the last 3 weeks. He hasn't played well. He's put the ball in harm's way. These are all bad things. It's a 3-week trend, and none of those defenses are as good as the Houston defense. So as a trend, that's pretty concerning.
Now, all that said, the Colts, they've been a little bit better at home. They got the dome, and they're still a good team, right? They're still a very good team. C.J. Stroud, I assume, will be back here. We don't have an injury report, but he'll probably be back here. It is fair to – we're in this world now with the Texans. C.J. Stroud's had a bit of a roller coaster ride the last year and a half, really, all of last season, beginning of this year. Davis Mills had 5 touchdowns, 1 interception in relief. I think there was a handful of huge throws in a scramble from Davis Mills, a game-winning scramble against the Jags. Made some big plays when it was needed. I thought he did a nice job. There's a little bit of Mills playing like Flacco behind an offensive line that theoretically was having issues, but they made it look a little bit better. And Stroud, when he played, the offensive line wasn't always looking bad. It was just against teams that had really good pass rushes, when they played Denver, when they played those fierce pass rushes, Seattle. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic here to see if, like, I think Stroud's better than Davis Mills. I'll go out there and say it. But there's elements to his game where maybe if he's not protecting the line as well as Mills, he won't be able to have that same kind of success.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think he's helping it in two different ways. I don't think his play style necessarily helps an offensive line, and that's an issue. But also remember, this is the year that they gave him responsibility at the line to set protections, to adjust, to change things, and that was supposed to improve this offensive line. That was a complete disaster last year. It was like they'd never seen a stunt, they'd never seen a pressure package. Anytime you threw anything complicated at them, and I'm not even particularly complicated, just any sort of wrinkle beyond rush four guys in a straight line up, they completely collapse. And you're like, well, we're going to fix that because now C.J. Stroud will have control. At the line, he'll be able to see what's happening. He'll be able to adjust it. He'll be able to get the protection in the right place. And it hasn't had any kind of positive effect. So I think there may be an element where Davis Mills might be better at that than C.J. Stroud is. And I'm not saying that as a massive feather in the cap of Davis Mills as much as it might be problematic for C.J. Stroud. But in every other way, he's, I think, a much better quarterback than Davis Mills.
Stroud pressured about 4 or 5% higher than Mills so far this year.
Which is a fair chunk.
It is. And look, some of it's, I know Mills came in the Denver game and everything, but Stroud against Seattle, that was a rough one, I believe, off the top of my head. There were some tough ones in there, but like we said, when they played, say, the Niners or teams that couldn't get pressure, it didn't look as bad. So, again, Stroud's a better quarterback. I think the ceiling for this offense is much higher with C.J. Stroud, which is why I've been so optimistic about the Texans, the way this defense plays, sitting on this 2 years' worth of potential offensively. And now you've got the rookies showing all these flashes, especially the last couple weeks. Woody Marks at running back, Jaden Higgins at wide receiver. I think they're trending in the right direction, man. Houston riding this defense with Stroud coming back can be really dangerous here. And they've got a stretch. They're going to play the Chiefs in a couple weeks. They get the Colts here twice. So they've got everything in front of them, as the coaches would say. All their goals still in front of the Houston Texans, who started the season so poorly.
The last thing about this Houston defense, by the way, is that they have a naturally good run defense to the point where it's not like the Colts can just lean on Jonathan Taylor and be like, don't worry, we're going to take the ball out of Daniel Jones' hands. It's going to be Jonathan Taylor making everything happen. I mean, he's been very good, so maybe he can have some success anyway. But the Texans have a good run defense, which will help everything about that side of the ball.
Will Anderson, by the way, 59 pressures per NFL Pro. And what did I say? It's 64 per PFF, just for perspective here, because we always pick on Tyree Wilson and Trayvon Walker. Draft class mate Tyree Wilson has 84 career pressures per PFF, and Will Anderson has 64, this year.
Actual pressures this year. Yeah, it's not great. Not great at all.
There were some teams that had Tyree Wilson above Will Anderson on their draft boards.
There were. And that never made any sense to me. But
look, the draft is difficult. Everybody's got their hits and misses. There are a few that just seem blatantly obvious.
Yeah, I mean,
that you shouldn't even have to debate.
It's one of those ones where it's like, the draft is difficult and everyone's going to get things wrong. There are some times, though, where it feels like even within, everything's possible. It's all a range of outcomes. It's like the crossover area Venn diagram here where this actually ends up true feels so small. It's not the area we should be shooting for.
Tyree, number 127 on my draft board.
Will Anderson also tied for the league lead in quick pressures with 28. 3 players are tied. Who are they?
Nick Bonito.
Yep. Will Anderson.
Will Anderson and Micah Parsons.
Correct. All 3, 28 quick pressures.
I'm back at good guesses. All right, man. Colts by 4.5. By the way, no DeForest Buckner for the Colts. I mean, he's been on IR. I mean, I thought I saw Dano mention it or someone else. Like, that was a big loss, I thought, against Kansas City, not having him, in the middle. And I love in the matchup now, Sauce Gardner and Travarius Ward on the outside against Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins. That's going to be a fun one to watch here. So,
and that might help their pass rush get home. The fact that they can play 40% man coverage. that they can try and slow down the obvious throws for C.J. Stroud and make him hold the ball, take longer, which he tends to want to do anyway. I mean, there's a world where this becomes a very low-scoring defensive battle.
All right, Colts in the Dome. I don't want to completely sour on them, but favored by 4.5 here with Texans team trending in the right direction. Where are you going to go with this?
I'm going to go with the Texans.
Same. Yeah, I'm taking Houston, man. I'm back riding the Texans train here. Harry's going to take the Colts to cover the 4.5.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.